Well, today is Sunday, April 14th, and we just got back from vacation late yesterday evening. And as you can see, it's raining. So, I guess this gives me a good opportunity to do a little maintenance on my table saw, which is here. My grandfather left me this saw, and I'm guessing it was made in the 60s. I can't find a serial number on it anywhere. I have absolutely no idea when it was made. I'm just guessing 60s. And it roars terribly. The switch needs to be rewired. The on-off switch doesn't work, so I need to rewire the switch. I'm actually going to pull out all the arbor and the tilting bits, get everything lubed up real good, cleaned up. I need to replace the arbor bearings, get everything lubed up so it works well. I'm going to have to use this I want to put opposing dados on my siding. I realized that if I were to screw the siding to the chicken coop butt edge to butt edge, that eventually it's going to shrink and separate, and it's not going to be watertight or airtight. So if I put opposing dados on rabbets on each side of the board, so they overlap, then that'll give me full enclosure on the coop. So I'm going to need to be running a lot of rabbets with this thing. And since it's raining today, it just seems like a really good time to take this thing apart and rebuild the arbor. It's just the bearings have probably never been changed in this thing. It's probably the bearings that came in it, and probably wasn't good bearings to begin with. So I'm going to flip this thing upside down, see if I can get the arbor out of it and get the bearings and get some new ones. And that may take up most of this week, actually, rebuilding this saw, but it's something that's got to be done, and it's a good time to start. So here we go. Well, there's the arbor, the whole assembly. Like I said, this thing has been around since probably the 50s, maybe 60s. So, yeah, everything's frozen up, rusted up, gummed up, and stuck. I was not able to get the front hand wheel off, so I had to take the front cover plate off and squeeze it all out through that hole right there. And I found part of the reason for the noise was, you can see my pulley is worn slap out. Set screw's missing. And apparently it was rattling around on the shaft. So I imagine that's where the bulk of my noise was, but there's still a little bit of noise there in that arbor. So I'm going to take this up to the shop where I have some better tools and some heat in the form of torches. And I'm going to get this thing pulled apart, cleaned up, greased up, get the bearings out of it so I can get new ones. And then I'll have basically a brand new table saw. Okay, so I've gotten the arbor part off of the main casting here, and I got the hand wheel out, and these little cast aluminum pieces here, these are actually what mounts it to the table. And right here on the side, this half moon shape rides inside this slot, and this whole thing is just suspended on these pieces. When you crank the hand wheel to tilt the arbor, it just slides in these pieces, and they were pretty frozen up. So these guys are going to get a good cleaning and a lubing. This is going to get cleaned and sanded a little bit. Clean the shaft here that the arbor actually rotates on when you raise and lower it. This is the top of the tabletop is here, and the arbor sits on it like that and rotates up and down when you raise and lower the blade. I'm going to drill and tap for a grease fitting here on this pivot point for this guy. And down here, right here where it looks like there should be a grease fitting and isn't, there will be. This is where the hand wheel shaft goes through for raising and lowering the blade. So I'll be putting a grease fitting in here and hopefully be able to keep this thing lubed up so it operates more easily. One of the things I think I'm going to do is, you can see the hand wheel, the little handle is broken off. So I'm going to try to get this guy off his shaft, but it may be forever rusted and frozen. So this hand wheel may actually not survive this upgrade. And if it doesn't, I'll just build one myself. But next project is get the bearings out of that arbor right there. So I'm going to give that a go. Alright, there we go. There's my arbor shaft. Just two little bearings. And honestly, they didn't really sound all that bad, but they were making a little bit of noise. And once you spin that blade up to the speed that this thing runs, they're going to make a lot of noise. So I figured it was best to just go ahead and change them. So tomorrow, I'll go by and visit a friend that owns an electric motor repair shop where they sell bearings. And I'll get me a set of bearings for it. And then I'll get my two grease fitting holes drilled and tapped. Get this thing cleaned up and back together.